Springboks and All Blacks, folks. Greatest rivalry. The first test is here at last. We have the squads. We are going to go through them just quietly. Both are looking pretty strong. I think both coaches have been pretty happy with the guys who were back available. We're going to go through the recent history, which is pretty favorable for the Boks. Some stats, some predictions, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But up front, I, for one, am just happy the game is about to be played. Because, I don't know, it just feels a bit tetchy. Both the coaches in their press conference just look a little bit, maybe it's a combination of nerves, maybe they're ticking each other off a little bit with what's being said in the media. Both coaches are clearly a bit frustrated and a bit annoyed. I don't like that feeling. I don't know why. Like, I can watch some coaches, like Eddie Jones is always, Michael Cheika, both those guys are always quite entertaining to watch in press conferences, but it just feels like there's a bit of negative energy flowing, and maybe part of that from journalists who don't have that much else to talk about because there's been no games played in terms of tests just yet. There's been a lot of headlines and whatnot. Let's just get to the rugby, eh? Very much looking forward to seeing how this first game goes. For the Boks, they have named their squad. It is vastly different from the team which played over in Argentina, and I think that's kind of to be expected. There's a couple of survivors from that squad, like Eben Etzebeth and like Sasha Feinberg Ngomzulu. Both those guys were short on minutes, needed some game time, and they got it against Argentina. They are both starting for the Boks this weekend. I guess one guy you need to highlight from the Boks is Damien de Allende, because he's playing his 100th test for the Boks, so that is a massive, massive achievement for him. Him and regular midfield partner Jesse Creel are in that midfield once again. That's the kind of thing you could have picked a year ago, and you'd have not been like getting real long odds on that one, right? That's a pretty secure looking Bok midfield. Sasha's question was like genuinely a bit of a tougher one, not because of the talent issue, because he's clearly one of, if not the most talented 10 in the world at the moment. He's right up there, isn't he? But different game from Handre and different game from Mani Libok. So they've gone with Sasha. He didn't exactly set the world alight. The Bok attack was looking a little bit clunky over in Argentina. But like skill set wise, Sasha's virtually second to none. So he's getting the backing of Russi at 10. And then Grant Williams is at 9. So it's a very attacking-minded Bok 9-10 combo. They interviewed Cam Roigard prior to this match as well in the press conference. And he mentioned, man, like you can't be off the pace at all with Grant or with Sasha. They were kind of asking Cam about it. And he was like, it's not just about me. It's tell my forwards to watch these guys. Because if they are ever so, as I said, slightly off the pace, these guys will exploit it. Two of the best running game 9-10s in the business in South Africa. I know we get a lot gets talked about the forwards, but you need to highlight those guys in the backs. Likewise, the wings. The wings are both very electric. Arendse and Colby. Again, you probably could have picked them a year ago. Colby's footwork against England was horrendous. I hope they don't do that to my All Blacks because, that guy's step still is an ankle breaker. And then Damien Willems, a world-class guy there at fullback. His all-round skill set, his kicking game, his running game, his ability to link up, work under the high ball, very, very secure, kind of safe as house, this guy there at 15. So pretty impressive looking back line. But the forward pack, goodness me. Ox and Lowe, that is the two props. Very dangerous scrummaging props, I'll say. Like, as an All Blacks fan, that's the one area that I'm like, it still worries me a little bit. That if the All Blacks props, if they keep getting pinged at scrum time, it's going to be a real long day at the office. We don't need dominance. We just need parity. Just like, don't give away. You can give away one or two, but you can't be giving away scrum penalties all day. Wilco Lowe and Oxenche are very, very adept at, turning the screws on opposition props. So very, very good scrummaging looking duo, although Ox hasn't had that much rugby. So we'll see kind of what match fitness he's in. Malcolm Marx, one of the best players in the world. Great at the breakdown. He's going to be a threat. And then you got Paul de Villiers there in the back row as well. There's no Sia. Russi did kind of go out of his way to talk about the fact that, this series is 4 test matches, not going to be won in the first game. So guys like Sia and Lewitt and a few other guys who are maybe coming back from injury or niggling injuries, they're not going to risk them. They could have played them, but, when you got Paul de Villiers there, he's been in cracking form, great threat at the breakdown. Why would you risk Sia when there's still more big games to come and other guys will undoubtedly get injured at some point? So Paul de Villiers and Malcolm Marx, that is a hell of a combo in terms of threat at the breakdown. Eben Etzebeth and Ruanokia complement each other really well in that second row. The big physical enforcer and the kind of more skills guy, work rate guy in Ruanokia. And then Peter Steph captains the side with the absence of Sia. His work rate's genuinely still incredible. Don't know how he keeps going. And Jasper Wiese, by Russ's own words, their first choice number 8. He's always a fun guy to look at because you look at his stats, like some guys have a lot more of a balance between carry and pass. I seem to remember every time I look up Jasper, it's mostly carry. He likes to go one direction. And his meters per carry numbers are usually pretty good. So the box starting 15 is pretty good. I mean, if you tried to pick this a year ago, you might have gone with Sia as your obvious starter, but like I said, he's not quite 100% fit, and you might have gone with like Thomas du Toit at tight head, but you would have had Wilco Lowe either on the bench or starting either way, so it's pretty much Russ's best team in it from recent times. Vessel, Stennekamp, and Porthen is the front row replacement, so I'm pretty sure that's the same as what we saw in Argentina. Visa, that's Corbus, is there as your big unit of a lump on the bench. Andre Esterhazen's in the number 20 jumper. Is he going to play midfield? Is he going to play on the flank? 20 would indicate that he's a flanker, but he is genuinely the hybrid, so I don't know. Is it a 6-2 or is it a 5-3? It's a bit of both. Van Staden is still there. Kobus Reinach and Martin Lebocki, 2 specialist backs. Interesting that there's no spot for Hondre, because he's generally the kind of, in emergency, break glass and bring out Andre Pollard. But no, he's not even in the 23 for this one, although he has been a guy also a bit lacking on game time. He was on the bench over in Argentina. But I think if you're a Bok fan, you'd be pretty happy with the team. You'd be pretty happy. For the All Blacks, fortunately for us, there's a few guys who've been under injury clouds who are named. Cam Roigard is absolutely the number 1 on that list, because he is far and away our best number 9. Very, very dangerous at number 9. Him and Grant Williams are going to be really fun to watch, to see who's able to get more breaks and more tackles broken and whatnot, if they're not just kicking bot kicks at each other all day. But yeah, him being fit is absolutely a bit of good news. Cam's a little bit injury prone, man. Like, he just goes down with niggles. He misses a fair bit of game time, but him being fit, first game of the tour for him. Will Jordan, literally our top try scorer ever, is fit on that right wing. So that's also a bit of good news. And you've also got D-Mac at fullback, who was under a bit of an injury cloud with that knee that he twisted in the Sharks game. But he's back fit and he's at fullback. So in terms of the back line, Dave's got the guys that he wanted there. So that's good news. Artie is back and he's captain, so his first game of the tour as well. Remember, he sat for a bit of extra time while the squad traveled to South Africa, so he could have a bit of time off to rest and recuperate after a long season over in Japan. So, Dave highlighted him, saying the rest has done him good. He's full of beans and ready to go. Likewise, D-Mac, he said, came through training really well. And that Will Jordan and Cam Roigard are basically fresh and keen to rip in, because they've had a fair bit of rugby as well. So those are the kind of the new faces, if you want to call it that we haven't seen much of on this tour, and they have maybe had injury doubts. Front row-wise, De Groot and Lomax is our best scrummaging set of props. So the pressure is absolutely on them to stand up. I think the scrum, was under pressure against the Stormers. Different dynamics in terms of the height of the props and whatnot, so they'll have been working on that for sure. Cody Taylor's the veteran there at hooker, there's no surprise. The locks was a bit of a pick 'em, wasn't it? Do you go with Lord, Tuipulotu? Do you go with Holland? Do you go with Darry, who's been massive? They went with Lord and Holland, so that's pretty high work rate, I reckon. Josh Lord's got a sick skill set for a lock, man. And Fabian Holland, he's not had that much rugby either. He played against the Bulls last week, got a full game at altitude in him, so that's good. He's going to be disrupting lineout. He's going to be making tackles. That's good news. They've gone with the extra bit of height with Va'i at 6. They haven't got a lock on the bench because they've got an extra starting lock in Va'i, so that's a bold call with the altitude factor, but it means someone or a couple of these guys are going the 80, and then Luke Jacobson and Artie Savia round out the back row. So it's a fairly nice balance, I think. Artie will be getting over the board to breakdown, doing the majority of the carries. Luke Jacobson will be doing the tackles and the cleanouts. And Tupavati will be doing the kind of lock, loose forward hybrid role. So that's the balance that Dave's going for. Elsewhere, Josh Morby's going to get his first start against the Boks. Biggest game of his career for sure on the left wing. Geordie Barrett at 12 means you got the Hurricanes 9, 10, 12, which I think is a bit of good news. And then Tupai's at 13. So just like the Bok midfield is pretty easy to pick, I think 12 and 13 for the All Blacks, Tupai and Geordie Barrett's also pretty easy to pick. That's been our 4 midfield. So yeah, the starting 15 looks pretty good, man. Almore is an absolute wrecking ball from the bench at 16. Bauer gets the nod as their replacement loosehead. Dave highlighted him being the kind of guy with the experience in that area. Fletcher Newell's our other tight head. Him and Lomax are our best scrummaging tight heads. So We'll see how he goes. Segner and Luckeye, two really dynamic loosies to bring off the bench. They both started against the Bulls and had great games. Segner's threat at the breakdown is massive, and Luckeye has missed the dynamic. Preston gets the nod at 9 because remember, Ratima is still not fit. Anton Leonard-Brown is there. So there's no Rico, and Leroy Carter is the other outside back. So no Rico, no Bodie. Ratima injured, but I think, to be fair, both teams, I don't say it in a negative way, but are pretty predictable. Like, both teams have picked more or less the best guys for the positions, isn't it? So there's no real kind of out of the blue calls from either team in that regard. Recent history between the squads and some stats. Well, the stats wise, South Africa, they've had one outlier from their 4 tests thus far, and that was the Scotland game. The Scotland game, they were genuinely put under the pump. They genuinely had less ball, like less territory, conceded a heap of line breaks and missed a heap of tackles, but they still won the bloody game. So apart from that game, we've seen pretty standard stuff from what we expect from a Rassi's Boks side. They dominate the possession. They dominate the territory. They kick a fair bit. Like, they kick on average 32 times a game. Of the 4 tests this year, like, the All Blacks are at 19, so there's a fair bit more boot to ball from the Boks. That is their game. Their lineout's been at 92%, which has been, pretty safe. Like, the All Blacks one's at 83 across the first 3 tests, not including the Greatest Rivalry Tour games against the URC sides. But yeah, solid Bok lineout. They've been really stingy on defense in terms of the second half. They haven't conceded a point in their last 2 games in the second half. So I don't think they've conceded a single point in the third quarter of games. So they're starting the second half really well defensively. But on the flip side, the All Blacks have scored in all their tests in the third quarter. So one of those stats is going to be broken this game. But yeah, the Boks, they've been pretty good. They've won all their games. They've been rotating the squad a fair bit. You got to feel like in this one, they are, unless Russia's got something absolutely up his sleeve, they are going to test the All Blacks under the high balls. They are going to look to dominate at scrum time. Like, why would you go away from that game? It would seem nuts to try something out of that kind of DNA. For the All Blacks, quick ruck speed has been the order of the day for Dave. 69% of their ruck ball in their first 3 test matches has been the kind of 3 seconds or under. Fast doesn't always mean better, but fast is what they're going for. They're looking to move the ball around. Like, South Africa's 3 second or under ruck speed, only 51%. So they're quite happy to play a bit slower and play a bit more methodical. But as I said, it's not good or bad. It's just different. So that's a different in styles. All Blacks kick less. They've got lots of line breaks, got lots of offloads. Like, they offload 10 times a game to South Africa's 5. So Dave wants them to chuck it around. Defensively, the defensive tackling percentage has been going up. The line breaks conceded has been going down. So they are tracking all right, the All Blacks. It's been pleasing. But it's going to be an absolute next level test to do this against the Boks. In the tour games thus far, obviously we saw a bit of struggle under the high balls. Like, the scrum has been under the spotlight. But even those things have been tracking better. But what is that worth against the Boks? We find out this weekend. Recent history between the sides. The Boks have got us 4-1 of the last 5 tests. Only Eden Park is an All Blacks victory. The average score across the last 5 has been 24-17. The last time at Ellis Park, it was pretty close. It was 31-27 back in 2024. Most recent games, that 43-10 one in Wellington, though. So, yeah, the Boks have had the All Blacks number in recent times. Are they predicted to win us? Yes, of course. The Boks at home are favourites. 6 points with the bookies. But the Rugby Forecast algorithm, which takes all the betting numbers out of the equation, takes the emotion out of the equation, is saying the Boks by 11. So it's saying the Boks are even better value than what the bookies are paying. Matt Carley, the Englishman, is the ref for this one. By my count, he's only refed 2 top-class tests this year. He's pinged the away side a bit more, but a lot of those was Fiji's home visit to Scotland. So I still counted Fiji as the away side for that one in the Nations Championship, where they conceded a lot of penalties against the Scots. So, yeah, hopefully the All Blacks can keep the discipline good and don't continue that trend. But to be fair, his games are fairly quick in the scheme of things. Like, if you look at the average game time, Matt Carley's games are not the slowest by any means. He keeps the game moving reasonably well. It is on at Ellis Park, 3 o'clock in the morning for those of us in New Zealand, 5:10 local time over in South Africa. Like I said, it should be a cracker. Forget all the hot air, forget the tetchiness of the coaches. They're both having digs. Let's just see what happens on the field. If you want All Blacks gear, including that greatest rivalry special jersey they've issued for this tour, check down in the description. There is a link to the All Blacks shop. That is an official affiliate of the channel. If you use that link, it tells them 2 cents sent you. But anyway, number 1 against number 2 in the world. The clash of styles, the greatest rivalry. How do you guys think it's going to go? You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.